Hello there, this is Ron LeGrand, and welcome to this presentation about how you can grow your real estate business to produce a six-figure income the first year, and you can do it easier than you think by not making all the mistakes of most beginners or even seasoned investors. So, you want to be a real estate investor and buy and sell houses without using your money or credit. You've been told you can make a lot of money and you have friends who are buying and selling houses, so why not you? Perhaps you're already a real estate investor, but still waiting for the money part. It ain't like they said in the seminars. What am I doing wrong? Is this a good time to be in real estate? These are questions we hear frequently. The truth. I've bought over 2,000 houses in the last 30 years, and I've never seen a better time to be in real estate than right now. America's on sale, and good deals are everywhere. The problem. Buying and selling houses properly is easy to learn if you're listening to a qualified teacher, but who will teach you how to run a business? 7 out of 10 business startups fail within the first 2 years, and only 1 out of 10 make it to the first 5 years. The two biggest reasons businesses fail are 1, not enough income, or 2, too much outgo. Well, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is real estate investors have very little outgo like most businesses, so they can focus on the income. Starting and operating a real estate business has little risk, if any, if we don't write big checks, we don't guarantee debt, and we don't make promises we can't keep. The bad news is there are still critical business processes and practices that must be learned and implemented, or even the simplest businesses will fail. You can learn these critical business practices from only one of two places. 1, from a qualified teacher, or 2, from the School of Hard Knocks. Now, of course, most choose the latter and pay a horrible price in lost income, expenses too high, heavy mistakes, ruined relationships, and even deteriorated health. If you would prefer the easy and less expensive method, I have a solution. It's called Ron LeGrand's Business Management Bootcamp, and I teach it personally. Here's a partial list of what I'll cover in our 3-day adventure together. 1, hiring, firing, outsourcing, and delegating. Whether you intend to have employees or job out everything, you must learn to find good people and keep them. This is a big weakness according to a lot of my students, and I intend to fix it once and for all. I'll have a lot of help teaching this one from some of our high-performing grads who are returning to the class and are willing to share their experiences. We get to pick their brains as well as mine, and you'll see how they're running their businesses and how I want you to run yours on autopilot that doesn't require your presence to exist. I've gained so much insight into this subject in the last few years, I could teach a whole week on it alone. It truly is a critical issue in growing any business, regardless of whether it's home-based or not. You can't grow alone for long. The faster you get other people doing the things you shouldn't be doing, which is almost everything you do, the more money you'll make with the least amount of effort. I've got folks with highly successful mom and pop operations, but I can't think of one where they do every little task themselves. You should know by now, the less you do, the more you make, yet most people have a hard time with this concept. I'm taking some time to give it the special attention it deserves. You'll get my input as well as that of my superstars and yours. All our topics will have audience participation, and we'll be there to fix your problems and deal with your issues. Number 2 is home versus office. I hear this a lot. Is it better to work from home or get an outside office? At what point should I move out of my home? I hear these questions everywhere I go and almost every event I do. You'll have the answers before you leave from the qualified panel of experts led by yours truly. When, if ever, should I transfer my office out of my house? How do I go about setting up an office? How can I control overhead? What should it cost, and what am I spending? These questions and many others will be answered by those who've been through it and not guessed at it, but in fact you'll hear from some who started at home, then got an office outside the home, only to shut down that office and go back into their home. You'll hear from others who would never operate out of their home again. They've made a ton of money from an outside office environment and wouldn't change it. Actually, I'm one of those. But this isn't about what's best for me. It's about all of your needs and how you want to run your life. So we'll explore all the evidence, and you get to preside on the bench, Your Honor. There's nowhere on earth you can get this kind of inside information except at this class. It's truly a one-of-a-kind experience. Number 3, individual versus company. Have you asked yourself whether you're better off as operating as a company or as an individual on a personal level? This is another debate we'll deal with as a group and put this question to rest once and for all. It's an important question and deserves some attention from the pros, and attention is what it'll get. You'll see some diversity on this issue. It's one I struggled with for a while, so I have a lot of insight to share with you. Do I use my name or do I use a company name in my business? Number 4, working with your spouse and keeping the peace. Now, this is a subject I get a lot of comments about, and frankly, I don't work with my wife Beverly, so I'm not really qualified on this one, and that's why I'm rounding out this panel and soliciting the help of members in the class as couples to address it thoroughly. Now, even though she doesn't work with my business, Bev is still my greatest support. So whether you're working with your mate or not, you live together, so you need to grow together, and you'll need harmony and an understanding of each other's needs and wants. If you're working the business as a team, it's even more important for you to both have a defined purpose and goals and recognize your time is valuable. As you begin to understand this, you'll begin to recognize the most valuable time you have is the time you set aside together to enjoy the fruits of your labor and to celebrate the milestones of your life and business. This could be a life-changing session if this is a problem area for you and your spouse. By all means, get your spouse to this class. Let him or her understand others share the same anxieties and learn what to do to get your life filled with excitement and fun again. This is a great business to share with our family so we can grow together as a team. It'll support you now and provide retirement when you're ready. When you're working together, every day is a pleasure. Number 5 is maintaining focus. The biggest killer to any business is trying to do too much and be all things to all people. Focus is a subject we'll need a lot of practice on. I can tell you most assuredly my net worth went up 20 times when I finally figured this out. On almost a daily basis, we all have opportunities to get us off track and do unproductive things. We'll work on maintaining our focus and raising our expectations, and whatever you're making now, it's only a fraction of what you can and will be making soon. This isn't hype, it's reality. Do the right things and watch your lifestyle change almost overnight. Do the same thing day in and day out and keep watching your trained competitors' lifestyles change. It's a simple choice. I'll personally take on the project of helping you dump the junk you're doing daily to free you up to make intelligent decisions and begin making large sums of money this year. We'll spend time solving problems as a group and on a one-on-one basis. You'll be given a questionnaire to complete, and in it you'll be asked to answer some pointed and personal questions. One of 2 things will happen. Either we'll share your problems with the class for open discussion, with your permission of course, or we'll sit with you in a one-on-one session for personal discussion. My staff will be there to help render quality time as well as myself and the panel. We can help you revolutionize your business by making marginal or even major changes in the way you do business. Number 6 is problem solving. There's no problem in business that can't be solved, but sometimes the tough ones keep us from progressing and stifle our creative abilities. Solving problems is a step-by-step process anyone can master, and we'll be doing it throughout the class. In fact, that's really what the whole event is about. A lot of it has to do with the ability or inability to make decisions and take action, which seems to be a huge factor with a lot of folks. Learn to manage to win instead of managing not to lose. This will also include risk management and loss prevention without sacrificing progress. I truly expect this one session to be worth the entire trip. And number 7 is cash flow management. It's the biggest business killer I know. As a real estate business owner, you never really know when you're going to get your next check or another check, and your income is sporadic, and the days of getting a weekly paycheck are gone. Oh, sure, you can pay yourself a weekly paycheck from your corporation, assuming the money's there to cover it, and all the other payables, of course. The problem is making sure your low cash flow periods don't put you out of business, and that's where I come in. Cash flow management is by far the number 1 problem in most businesses. It sure rises to the top with my students, as it did with me in my first 10 years in businesses, and frankly, even today, it's a constant ongoing concern. Most people